we learned 50 songs, and we started making musician wages, $17 an hour back then, and then I started booking my own groups and big gigs, and we charged $5 each, and we took half and gave the YMCA half, and I'd be making $5 a night. Now, I'm not bragging about me. The take home is, you don't have to have an education to be successful necessarily. Education isn't meaning to stuff in, it's meaning to draw out. Just like happiness is something that we draw out. If you look at the definition, education comes from educare. How do we draw out? So the take home here is, you can draw out stuff. Now I get into a public university, first of 3 alma maters that I fell in love with. I just adored this place. But suddenly they said you could go to study in India, which she has already alluded to how much fun that is. And just had a wonderful time. And I will have, the stories are all a little bit long and bedraggled, but at the end of the trip, they said you're going to go into euphoria, you're going to go into trauma and hate yourself, and they made this decision to go to a less developed country in 1968, and then you go into symbiosis where you get with the culture and love it, and we got to see every part of it. Nobody got to do it, and there were no Yankees there then. Ram Dass was there at the same time we were there. Oh my God, he's very, very good. Yeah. Anyhow, so I come back and I'm doing a really good job academically, and my physiology teacher, Alfred Richardson, everybody at the time at 65 got fired at Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, and our university president, Dr. Dwight Morris, was so smart, he hired all of them at 65. He said, they're just getting good. Alfred said, hey Mark, you're skipping the rest of the class today in grad school, you're going with me to hear the smartest guy on the planet. I said, really? That's you, Al? He said, no, it's another guy working with NASA and me, Bucky Fuller, Einstein's best student. How many of you know who Buckminster Fuller was? I watched this little diminutive man, comes up on stage, 5,000 kids, I'd sit in the front row where you're sitting, had no idea who he was. He said, we're going to talk about cosmogony, cosmology, epistemology, cartography, synergetic, energetic geometry. He did 10 words I'd never heard, and I had a 4-point. I thought, whoa. Because all of us get sophomoric. We think we know something because we know our little itty bitty bandwidth of the world. I went and begged to work for him and spent 7 years traveling around. Here's what he taught me though, to be happy. When he wanted to kill himself after his daughter died, he's at the end of Lake Michigan ready to jump in, and yes, he'd been to Harvard and all that good stuff, had 15 doctorates, had written books already, and just done amazing stuff. Then Einstein's guy who I'm inspired to tell a story. Are you asking a question or just stretching? You're just stretching. Okay. I have a tendency to talk too fast. I thought maybe, slow down. It's out of enthusiasm to share all this great stuff in a very short time with you. Anyhow, Bucky said, look, we now for the first time, you're born geniuses and you get de-genius. That'll make you happy to start to think. Everyone touch yourself, say, I'm a genius.
I'm a genius.
Take your finger, point at your third eye and say, I got a genius in here.
I got a genius.
And by the way, from now on, you got permission. If you don't believe you got permission to use it, believe that I believe you do it, and then you get 2 of us agreeing. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Bucky said, we just get unplugged going through life. And they said, look, for the first time in history, we have enough abundance so we can make the world work for 100% of humanity. Now, the contemporary Bucky is Dr. Peter Diamandis, you know, the MIT engineer, Harvard MD, the guy who started the X Prize, and the guy who's written a book called Abundance, and the guy who's written a book called Bold, and a friend of mine, and also a Happiness Hall of Fame winner, I'm thankful to say. But for the first time, we can have fundamental abundance for total humanity, which I'll talk about in a second from one of the companies we own. So then Jack and I get together. Both of us happen to be talking down in San Diego at the Mandala Association. And I get done talking, load up my stuff, finish signing books, and Jack says, I'm Dr. Jack Canfield. Do you know me? And I said, I do. I listened to your lecture earlier this morning. You're wonderful. And he said, can I take you to lunch? We became great friends. And then, long story very short, we decided to do a book. We both sold a lot of books. I'd sold 376,000 books for the platform because no publisher would take me. So, but hell, I'll sell them myself. I had a lot of money. I thought, this is a really cool gig, man. Having fun talking, writing books that you want to write and stuff you want to write. And people are crazy enough to give you $10 each a book. First seminar I ever did, I sold, well, the first year I sold 20,000 books. They cost me $1 each, sold them for $20 each, made $200,000 basically gross in books. I thought, whoa, this is a lot better than real stuff. Real work. I like this better than everything I've done up until now. Anyhow, so I got really into it. Jack and I decided to write this book. 3 years we worked on it. We go to, everybody turned us down. 144 publishers turned us down. I mean, Random House turned us, everybody, right? They were actually saying, hit the road, Jack. I said, look, it's all right if you don't like him, but I'm a nice guy. You know, Jack's wonderful. Anyhow, so I wrote all the goals for us because that was my part of the job. And I said, look, in addition to writing books and finding stuff and learning how to market, I interviewed the best authors. I asked how to market, not how to write. I knew how to write, I thought. Anyhow, and I did okay with that. But you know, we learned how to market, and we said to the publisher that finally took us, and they was sort of almost a vanity press, but said, look, we'll sell $1.5 million in a year and a half, then we're gonna sell $5 million, and $10 million, and $15 million a year, and I'm gonna become the world's best-selling author. I mean, here's the principle. In the Bible, it says, write a thing, make it clear, it'll be established unto you. You can't get a goal unless you set a goal, so I teach set at least 101 goals, do it in 20 minutes, give yourself thought, command, and say, I'm gonna make this snap. So we did $1.3 million the first year, then $5 million, hit all those goals, and then ultimately we're at $500 million. And then 2008, now I'm going to tell you about spiritual stuff next, but I'm sort of under the favor of God because we had this guy come, guy from here, one of the 4 guys I interviewed that invented the internet, and it's not Al Gore. He politicized it. Anyhow. And it's not a knock. Al Gore was in Jack's Harvard class. Jack's older than me. But the guy said, we want to buy your brand. And I said, whoa, that's good. So long story short, we got a whole lot of money, and it was at exactly the right time. I can't tell you that it was because I'm the best salesman in the world or the best businessman. It just, that's what happened. And in the next year, we went from 19,000 bookstores down to 400, which breaks my heart. Now, in the book business, just real quick, I've had some real successes. When New York Times wouldn't take us because they said, you are a multi-author, published book. I said, look, I'm selling more than anyone else. I'm selling 20,000 a week, lady. That's more than anybody else. What do you mean you won't put us in New York? She said, you're a multi-author book. I said, you never take multi-author books? I never take multi-author books. I said, you're positive? Positive. I said, lady, you got the Bible, that's got 66 authors. Unless you count maps, then we'll call it 67. She said, boy, you're in next week. Then her publisher, who, whenever he said a book wouldn't make it, I knew it would make it. We did Chicken Soup at the Teenage Show, because we had, Jack and I both had teenagers at the time, and you know, he said, I got teenagers, and they buy concert tickets, clothes, and you give them $50 to the mall, and the mall makes it disappear. And they said, what happened to it? And said, the mall ate it, you know, with Pac-Man back then. I said, boy, these are gonna sell. He said, they ain't gonna sell. I'll do it, but it's a dumbass book and ain't gonna work, you guys. Well, we sold 19 million the first year, so I thought, that's pretty cool. This is good, this is good. And then I did a bunch of money books, and we did big money seminars. Like some of you that don't have money need to know it. You ought to read my 1 Minute Millionaire, and also read Think, Grow Rich, and all that. The success literature is there, but only 1% of us use it. It's like my hero is Andrew Carnegie, one of many heroes I got. But Andrew Carnegie did a mistake. He gave the library cards away free, so only 1% of us have a library card. It's free. He thought everybody would go because when he bought books, they were $300 each. And I want you to go to his 2 houses. The one in New York is at 95th and 5th Avenue. It's now the Smithsonian Institute, but when you walk in, the first thing it says is authors are the wealth of the world. Second thing says, no man or woman can get rich without enriching all others. Take your finger, point to your temples. Go, that's interesting.
That's interesting.
See, because some of you are saying, well, I'm poor, and you don't know how bad it is. You can't a poor person can't do any good for another poor person. That's only somebody that's rich can teach you how to get rich. You've got to listen to somebody that really made a lot of money. And you live in a city of wealth here, those of you that live in this metropolis. When the gold rush, everybody came with gold fever. They made $300 million. That's all the gold we had in America then. The annual budget for San Francisco is $3 billion a year. The alumni of this prestigious institution earn $3 trillion. That's spelled with a T dollars a year. So there's plenty of wealth. If you can't make it yours, it's only one reason only. You haven't studied it and then decided to employ it. apprehend it, comprehend it, and go out, take the self-initiative action and do it. There should be no one poor in America. Now some of you say, it's easy for you to be a pompous ass. Well, of course. But I'm also working with Dr. Ben Carson. My wife and I are working. We've been in Washington. We're changing it. He says we're no longer giving people public housing. We're getting them out of public housing for the first time in history. Number two, we're going to teach them all these values, and we're really helping with that. Number three is we're going to give them all energy, which is the last thing I'll talk about. So Jack and I did the books. We sold the company, and then I said, well, you know, Bucky nominated me a long time ago, and he said, make the world work. The first way to do it is you got to have energy. You got to triple the kilowatts per person to up the level of humanity. And now some of you, and he said, we'd run out of energy right now. And he said, in 2015, we're going to run out of energy, which is happening. We're having blackouts, brownouts, grayouts. We're having violent storms, like 4 hurricanes in the last 2 months. Now some of you say, well, we don't do anything to cause that. Yes, we all do. We got to get rid of internal combustion engines. I just wrote a book called You Got an Electric Car in Your Future. We got to go to electric car, and we got to get off petrochemicals. It's going to be here for a decade. It got us here, but it was a self-starter engine. If you're going to be happy, we got to have air that we can breathe. Bucky taught me we got one biosphere. We all live in the same ocean of energy and energy and oxygen and happiness. But we got to clean it up, because when we're in China all the time, little kids are dying of lung cancer because they got too much pollution. If you don't believe in global warming, believe that there's global pollution, and it's created by human beings. In 100 years, we've gone from 1 billion to 8 billion. It's like a serious amount of us are here. All you got to do is get in an LA traffic jam once, or New York traffic jam, or San Francisco traffic jam. Or if you go to Shanghai, they're 27-hour traffic jams. Oy vey. So we can change all that, and we created, Crystal and I started buying alternative energy companies. If you want to look at something cool and see the coolest energy that's ready to come, we have 248 cool devices at a company called naturalpowerconcepts.com. I'm not selling any of you. You're not my clients, but you'll see the stuff used. Our partner's Caterpillar, which is our biggest manufacturing company, the one that jumped the highest this last week in the stock market. So we're getting this stuff done. We're doing, you call them pop-up windmills. They're called folded blade turbines that go up and turn around. And we're doing in-stream augers so we can make the rivers do it. We're doing pulsating buoys 2 miles off the ocean so we have enough water in California. California is I love this place, but we got to get the water thing solved. The wars are going to be over water. And we got politicians that don't have a frigging clue. I'm sorry, I don't care what political party you're in. These guys, a lot of them are idiots. They don't know science, they don't know money, they don't know finance, and by the way, I'm supposed to not do political stuff. But the fact is, we've got pulsating buoys now that throw water through reverse osmosis. We have unlimited water, and it doesn't wreck the ocean. People say, well, you put too much salt in. No, that's what they did in Israel. That's what they do in Abu Dhabi, because they didn't think it through, so they got hundreds of thousands of tons of salt. The salt, if you leave it in the ocean, it just swishes back in and remixes. Doesn't hurt. Our CEO of our company is a fish doctor, an ichthyologist. So we're in the coolest time ever if you're awake. And the teacher, I don't know where you went. But we had one other teacher here too. You and I talked outside, and I love teachers. Anyhow, so we're in this very exciting time, and then the other company we own is Metamorphosis Energy, where we want to cause energy independence for everyone everywhere. And we're starting at the bottom and bringing it to the top. It just is really wonderfully cool, because we're flatlining energy, because up until now, if you're with the utility, they're monopolistic, feudalistic, they control and they charge you whatever they want, and you've never had a choice. Remember, I said happiness is a choice. I want to have energy be a choice. Crystal and I believe the highest choice you make in the triangle is, first of all, you got to have great health. And my goal is to live to be 127 with options for renewal, because health makes me happy. So we both exercise an hour each and every day. I'm spinning again at, and I'm basically 70 years old. So, and I'm the oldest one in every class I attend. Anyhow, so, because old people think, well, you're not give off at 65. And I wrote a book with Art Linkletter. How many remember Art Linkletter? He did Kids at the Tarnus things, People Are Funny, House Party. He was a wonderful guy, but he always asked kids the irascible question. He says, what do you want to be? And they all wanted to be a dog, a cat. One kid says, he's 5 years old, he says, what do you want to be? He says, I want to be an octopus. He said, why? He says, I'm little and they beat me up. When I go back to school on Monday, Mr. Linkletter, I'm going to beat him up with my testicles.